And welcome in live to the studio here at MavRadio.fm, KVNO 90.7 HD2 Omaha. I have a special guest with me here today, Cole Boardwell, a.k.a. Nobody's, a local artist here in Omaha. Cole, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, how are you?
You know what? I am living the dream one day at a time. You know, Cole and I, we've had a bit of a history, I would say. Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say we've had just a tad bit of history. I mean, I've known Cole since probably what? Third grade?
Fourth grade.
I would say probably like late
Yeah.
elementary school. And we've had some interesting times together. Adventures. That's a good way to put
Yes,
it.
Sir.
There was one time actually we just graduated 8th grade. We were going into our freshman year of college. And we went to Anderson Middle School here in Omaha, Nebraska. And we, over the summer, this was probably a few weeks in the summer. I don't think it was too far into summer.
It was probably like June or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and we had some fireworks with us because, you know, we're smart middle school kids. That's what smart middle schoolers do. You bring fireworks around with you in the middle of summer.
Exactly.
And Omaha, that was the summer that Omaha had a crazy drought where like the grass was dead everywhere. Everything was dry. Yeah. And being smart middle schoolers / high schoolers as we were lighting fireworks in the grass where all the dead grass was.
We would just throw it at each other. Like firework and just throw it.
And, well, as you would assume, a fire started. Unfortunately, a fire started.
I would not assume that because it wouldn't have happened if I didn't know it was going to happen.
Fun scenario. Firefighters came in. Cole and I, we bonded over that moment. I mean, to be honest, I was kind of traumatized when it happened.
You're not giving them the full story. You're not giving them the full story.
I mean, okay, so what happened was the fire started and we couldn't get it to stop. Like
Right.
it was because the way the fire works when you have it on dead grass is it expands very fast and it starts to cover the entire park.
And then what do? We stomp on it.
We stomp on it.
because that's what we see in movies.
Yes, you think the stomping's going to work and
it lights up again.
I was about to say we could not get it to stop. So
and then we found that empty gallon milk jug or whatever. And then we went down to the lake. We were like, hurry it up! And then we came back.
We
and
were
then we dumped
running
it
down,
on it.
like old-fashioned. We were running down to this pond, probably 50 feet from the fire, filling up this gallon of an empty gallon container with water, trying to put the fire out like a bunch of idiots. And I ended up running down to the track and like getting a guy to call the fire department because we didn't think we were going to get it put out.
I was like, we should leave. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't know if this is against the law.
But we were able to get it put out before the fire department showed up. So it ended up working out. But it was one of those things where we all walked home in silence.
Yep.
We didn't say a word to one another because we knew we were all going to get lectured hardcore when we got home.
I was grounded for probably a week.
As was I. Yep. Fun times. Cole and I have had a great history, but now both of us grown up, partially matured. I wouldn't say we've completely matured, but we've gotten past starting fires in parks.
We're not throwing firecrackers.
We're not
at each
throwing
other
firecrackers in the middle of summer. So that's a positive. So Nobody's here just released his newest album. An Artist Can't Find True Happiness. It's on iTunes, it's on Spotify if you want to give it a listen. Now, we just talked about it beforehand. This is your 7th project now in the last year. So you've been constantly in the studio doing work. Yeah. What kind of inspired you to get into music? Because, I mean, was it more of like a specific moment that made you realize that this is something you wanted to pursue? Or was it something where you gradually fell into it and decided that that's what you wanted?
I think it was just always like when I was like in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, I just always like, I was that kid who always had his headphones in, and I was just like, I just love music so much. And the older I got, it was kind of like, oh, this is like kind of good. And singing in the car, and everyone was like, oh, you're a good singer, you're good, you can do this, you can do this. And I just listened to a lot of different music, and I think you can tell that with the variety you get with the album. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like one straight front to back one song. You're like, oh my God, this guy has some range. So my main focus on it was trying to get versatility in there and stuff like that. But I think I really started taking music seriously probably only like a year ago when I started doing stuff on my own. And I mean, it's worked out pretty well so far. So yeah, I enjoy it a lot though.
Yeah, I mean, over 2,000 listens so far in the first 4 days since your album's been released. I mean, you've obviously picked up some traction. Who was somebody that inspired you? Somebody that, you know, not necessarily that you're trying to be, but somebody that you emulated, somebody that you grew up kind of somebody that you enjoyed listening to, you would like their style of music, somebody you kind of want to be like? Who's your inspiration when it comes to being a musician?
Well, I think the music has always evolved over time, because when I was a kid, I only listened to like 80s hair bands and like Def Leppard, Kiss.
I love Def Leppard growing up, though.
Yes,
my dad definitely put me on Def Leppard.
I still wear my Hysteria T-shirt to this day. It's one of my favorite albums. And then the older I got, like around like 12, 13, it started to change into like punk and alternative and like Panic at the Disco, Foo Fighters, Nirvana, like stuff like that. And then when I got to like high school, that's when like the rap thing, I really started getting into rap more. So I think the people who inspired me most is probably obviously no brainer Kanye West. He just inspires everybody. Like no artist,
Kanye West.
No, like literally no artist right now like doing it. They will literally say Kanye West. Not like just disregard his personality. I mean, I love it, but disregard his personality. Like his just artistic craft is just so impressive. XXXTentacion probably 100%. Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, every dead rapper. It's just that was a rough time. I think those are like probably. Bon Iver, something that probably not a lot of people know. Do you know who Bon Iver is?
No, honestly, I don't.
Okay, so it's like they only have like 3 projects. It's kind of like this folk band.
Okay.
But their latest album that came out like I think 3 years ago, 22 Million. That was like one of the best albums I've ever heard in my entire life, and they really like distorted the way music was supposed to be written and like produced and everything. So I thought it was cool. But definitely Justin Vernon's the lead singer there, and I really want to work with him one day. Don't know if it'll happen, but it'd be cool if it did.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Your kind of music too, like you said, you want to have versatility to it, and there definitely is a lot of different kinds of sounds when you listen to your music, and it's progressed a lot too since you started. You know, you've kind of set your foot into what kind of genre. What's kind of the most difficult part of your music making process? Is it coming up with the lyrics? Which I understand sometimes when it comes to lyrics, it's easy because you just write what you're thinking in your head. Right. A lot of your music is pure like that. Would you say it's more lyricism, or it's more like the physical recording and editing? What would you say is the most difficult part of your music process?
I would say honestly probably writing. I know that a lot of people, I've gotten advice over the years, and they say that your writing is very simplistic and like not, I don't know how to explain it. It's very simple, and like I know that for a fact, but I like to take simplicity to the max. And like I don't feel, if you like read the lyrics and you see it's only like 8 bars, but I can stretch it into like a 3-minute song, I think that's impressive. You know what I'm saying? And like it doesn't bore you, and there's enough tempo changes that it would adjust. And I think that the listeners actually get that. But I would say the hardest is probably the writing. That's like the most difficult, because I don't have anyone writing my stuff. It's literally me and like my friends. And like when we get together, it's always like the best writing process, because we always get stuff down really quick. It can be like, it could literally take 10 minutes to make a song, or it can take 1 month to make a song. You know what I mean? It's just like whatever we're feeling that day. But writing would probably be the hardest part of it.
And obviously inspirations too, when it comes to writing your music, it's got to come from different places. Mm-hmm. Where would you say your inspirations come from? You know, obviously a lot of your songs you write about what's going on in your life, you know, right. Whether it's, you know, some demons you're fighting or things like that. A lot of your songs are very personal.
Depressing.
And, you know, yeah. But it's honestly, it's better than listening to watered down rap music that you hear nowadays, where like we talked about before we stepped in the studio,
right.
It's all templated. You know, you see hip hop artists, they rap about the same things. They usually have the same beat, the same melody.
Yep.
You know, that Migos style of rap kind of, now everybody wants to rap that exact same way. And like that's just one example of in music, you know, people kind of following the same trend. Where do your inspirations come from when you write lyrics? Is it just kind of whatever's on your mind at the time? Because obviously when you're making music, it's always thinking about the next song. But
right.
where do your inspirations come from?
With writing, probably anytime like an album comes out, I always try to listen to it very carefully. Like Billie Eilish's album came out. And like
great album.
Yeah, it's really impressive. But the one song that like stuck out with me, without me, was probably like the song "I Love You," and like the way she like wrote it was like so beautiful, but it's so simple at the same time, and like that's what I try to achieve. So I obviously like pull from like a lot of artists, and I think my music range and like variety, like I have like over 1,000 CDs in my apartment sitting, and they're not just all rap. Like I just like to take from a lot of people. And not like stealing or anything. I just like to use inspiration. And I think that helps me with writing as well. With like I could go from like listening to like Kurt Cobain to like Suicide Boys to like Billy to Lana Del Rey to like Alt J, and then like go back to like Led Zeppelin rock and roll or something like that. So I think that helps a lot with writing.
And I think that's awesome too, having that kind of perspective of, understanding multiple different genres, because I'm kind of the same way. I'm just I'm more of a, not as much of a music connoisseur as you are, but I mean that's kind of the same way. My playlists range from 80s classic rock to rap nowadays to Lana Del Rey, artists like that. So I get that. I've seen firsthand some of the sacrifices you've had to make to get to where you are. I mean, you went from starting at the very bottom as just an idea, as something you wanted to do. I want to be an artist. And now it's really started. The ball's been rolling. I mean, you were telling me the amount of play buttons you've gotten on SoundCloud. What was the number again? Excuse me. For SoundCloud plays, it's like over 100,000, isn't it?
I think it's 100.
It's around 150,000 if I remember right. And I mean, like along with that,
147,000.
And then, like I said earlier, I mean, over 2,000 plays in the first 4 days of your album being released. I mean, this started as just, as I said before, an idea. I mean, this was something that was really, you built this from the ground up, and a lot of artists start that way. They start from the bottom and they really work their way up. Tell me a little bit about some of the sacrifice you've had to make, balancing work and making music and things like that. Tell me about some of the hard work you've had to do to get these projects going.
Right. I feel like a lot of people have this idea in their head that like I'm like this like guy who's just always in the studio all the time, and I really am, but like I also have bills to pay. Like I have a regular job. Like people don't think that like I have a regular job. Like I have a job just like everyone else. And like about a year ago was like when I started doing this, I was depressed. I worked overnights. I had no sleep. I got like 2 hours of sleep every night because I literally go to work from 7 p.m. to like 8 a.m. And then I go home, record till like 2 p.m., hang out with friends because I want to have a social life, trying to, and then I would go to bed for 2 hours and then wake up at 7 and do it all over again. And it sucked. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's a lot of sacrifices, bro. Like seriously, like free time, I don't have any of it. Like friends, my social life, the circle, I like to keep the circle small, but the circle substantially went from like 10, 8, and then people would get mad at me because I wouldn't hang out with them or something like that. And I'd be like, I picked them over the studio, but like it's what I want to do. So I'm saying like I think
it's a grind.
No, for real. Like so I think if you're a true friend, you would like stick with your friends. You know what I'm saying? And like it's not like I'm just gonna forget about them. Like I know the people that I'm gonna take with me if I do make it, and like it hasn't changed for like 5 years. So
yeah, and I mean obviously those sacrifices, they've started to pay off. As I said before, I mean it's really starting to, the ball's starting to get rolling. Tell me a little bit about your newest album that came out a few days ago. It's like I said before, it's called An Artist Can't Find Happiness. A really good album. I got a sneak peek before it came out. Really good stuff there.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your inspiration for this album, because like we've talked about at the beginning, this is your 7th project in the last year, so you've really been working, getting a lot of stuff out there, and we've seen the steps that have been made since you first started. Tell me a little bit about this album. Like how long did it take to finish the whole project? What kind of things went into your thought process? Tell me a little bit about it.
All right. So it's actually a funny story. So like the last project I released, I worked on it for about 5 months, and every day for like 5 months, like I was in the studio constantly. I made like 45 songs for it, but only picked 12, and I have like so much unreleased music that I'll probably never release because some of it's a booty. But like I don't make gold all the time. So
hey, it happens. It's all a process.
It's literally just a process. So I had this album called Sick and Sad Volume 3 that it's only released on SoundCloud, and I was gonna release it on Apple Music and Spotify and everything, but something to do with sampling issues because I sampled one of my favorite movies, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotlight, or it's like a Jim Carrey movie. Wow, I'm blanking right now. I can't remember.
Jim Carrey's in so many movies.
The
hard.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or Spotless Mind of the Eternal Sunshine, or whatever. Great movie. Check it out. But
who's in that movie? I'm trying to think if I'm thinking of the same movie.
Kate Winslet.
Yes, the girl from Titanic. Yes, I have seen that movie. Yes. Sorry, keep going.
Love that movie. And then I sampled one of that. I put it on Apple Music and Spotify, and I got an email saying that like it can't be distributed out of there. So they took it off, and like I was hyping it up. I was working, and I think it's just convenience of people. So like people won't. I'm not gonna be like, check out my SoundCloud, you know what I mean? Because no one cares. But like when you say that, it has like this already idea of like, oh, I bet, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, wait, like I'm making true honest music here, and it's just difficult to get through people. And so when that got taken down, it was like a blow to my heart. Like I was like, wow, I worked on this for like almost a half a year, time and effort, and then it didn't really get recognized. So I remember I went in like this deep depression for like a week, and I was like, I'm never gonna make it, and like I was like, this is it, I'm done for music. And then I didn't talk to anybody for like 5 days, and then I think I watched like those inspiration videos you like scroll through YouTube, and it's like 5 minutes to change your life.
You always see those
too.
And
I was like, I'm gonna click on it, and so I clicked on it, and then they just had like a bunch of speeches, and I was like, wow, maybe I should start on another album. So immediately I was gonna put on an EP called Alone in the Dark, and then I made White Lies, Father Please, which is the next one, an unreleased song that is bad, that I won't say, and then another one, and I was gonna put that one out. It was only be 4 songs because I just wanted like product on my page to show that like I'm official, that I'm like really serious about this. And then I started making song after song, and then my friend Noah Sadi, who's on the album, he hopped on Father Please, and then I only work with Noah and Anthony. Doesn't mean I like am like not gonna work with anyone else, but like I personally,
those are your primary guys.
I personally know them, and I've known them for like almost like 8-something years. So like I feel comfortable enough recording with them and everything, and they know everything about me. So it's like just an easy process when we go in the studio. And then Noah got on it, and then Anthony was like, bro, why I'm not on your album? Are you serious? And I was like, that's an EP. It's not really an album. And then I was like, dang, I might have to make it an album. And then I was working, and it was like 4 a.m. And then it just, all of a sudden, it just like hit me. And I just like looked up, and I was like, an artist can't find true happiness. And I was like, I found it. I was like, this is it. And I immediately texted Ant, and I was like, this is going to be my album name. And then he's like, no, that's not it. That's not it. And I was like, no, it's it. I go, trust me. And then the artwork of it is another story. The artwork is just me. The artwork is so like...
First off, before he keeps going, the album cover really is amazing.
Yeah.
It looked like a mess, first and foremost. It looked like it probably took days to get all that stuff off. But still an amazing album cover. You can explain a little bit more, but I just wanted to kind of give my piece. I thought it was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was basically saying like an artist can't find true happiness, saying that like every artist, whether that's literally sports or you work on cars, like even stuff like that, you paint, you do music, stuff like that, and you physically can't, like mentally you can't find like happiness in your own work. You can't be like 100% satisfied with everything that you do, but like yet we still put it out because we feel pressure from everyone else. And that's like an awful thing. Like I wish I could just like Frank Ocean and just like disappear for 4 years, but like I can't. And so I think a lot of artists get that. And I think the album is kind of touching on everything like that. And the reason why I endoused myself in paint, and this wasn't like no like wash off paint, like it was actual paint. Like I went to Home Depot and I said, I want these 5 colors in the cheapest paint you have, and they gave me, and it cost me like $60, and I was like, here we go. And then I bought the tarp, and everyone thinks it was like this amazing like this wall of white, and it was like in a studio. It was literally my photographer's attic, and it was like creaky. It was like like, and it was so dusty and dirty, and it's literally just like how creative you are with what you have. Like you don't need a lot of money to have that like experience of like, whoa, you know what I mean? And so the album is just me like a silhouette. I just stood up against the white tarp, and then they just threw paint at me, and like I just had to stand there and put her chemistry goggles on and just take it like a man.
I was about to say, was it kind of like a comedic moment where they're like, all right, we're gonna throw paint at you,
like they did
yourself.
It was hesitant. They're like, okay, because they didn't want to hurt me, and I was like, you just have to do this, and then
pull it off like a band-aid.
Yeah, no, like for real, it was like a 10-minute band-aid, but like they just kept throwing it, and it was cold. It was so cold. I didn't expect it to be that cold. And then stood there and walked off, so it's like the silhouette of my body. And then I had this idea of saying, like, I feel like a lot of people, like the expression, like, stop wearing your mask or whatever, because when people go through the days, they have a smile on their face, but, you know, like, what they really feel is, like, empty inside, but they don't show that with the people. And
especially nowadays, that's more prevalent.
Dude, with social media and everything, like, you're just glued to something, or something makes you feel bad, and like you're always comparing yourself to people. And like I do it, literally did it before we walked in here. I saw something on Twitter, and I was like, oh man, he's better than me. And I was like, I got sad, and I was like, I shouldn't be sad, I should just be content with my own self, you know what I'm saying? But it's so difficult to get past that, especially at such a young age when we literally grew up with social media,
especially in a competitive market like music. I mean, everybody's trying to produce stuff, so I mean, it makes sense to feel that way. But I mean, it's cool to see that you're willing to, express your feelings like that, and especially like you said with your artwork on your album cover. I mean, that's cool that you're able to, show, there's meaning behind it. It's not just you grab some paint and slap something together. Like there's real meaning behind it.
And I feel like a lot of artists like don't, because I like to take art and music and put it together, not just like the music and let's just go downtown and take a couple pictures and then post it on there and edit it. Like it's more than that, to me at least. And I think that that's why I don't have any words on it, because a lot of people like they have words on their albums, and like I think that's weird. Like I don't like to have words on my stuff, so I just like to let the picture literally speak for itself. And I think that's what I did very clearly with this one. Yeah, and when you guys go listen to his album, definitely check out the album cover before you do it. As I said before, it's on Spotify and Apple Music. Which songs on your album, if there were any in particular, did you enjoy making more? Were there any, whether it was because of the meaning behind the song or whether it was just the sound you liked particularly? Were there any songs that you had more enjoyment making? Let me grab my phone real quick and look at the track list. Waste My Time was one that I really enjoyed. Obviously, it was on our promo on MavRadio's Twitter and Facebook. Yes. If you saw it before the interview today, that's one of my favorite songs. Gray Skies is another one that I really like. I had a lot of fun making that one. That was a fun one. And we talked about it when you gave me the little sneak peek of this album a few weeks back. We talked about how you said every song brings something different. You have songs for specific audiences where you're like, I know that a lot of my stuff sounds this way, so I purposely made a few songs that sound a little bit different so those people can enjoy my music. Right. And that kind of stuff's cool. But like I said before, which songs did you enjoy making the most? I think the ones that I made, honestly, probably to start, obviously Waste My Time. Broken Bottles Galore. I just love acoustic. I'm not saying like I don't like drums, but like I literally just like the guitar and my voice. Like that's like my all-time favorite. Yeah. It's all about being simplistic. That's exactly what that is. Yeah, and that's like my all-time favorite thing. Like just like to hear my voice with the guitar is like amazing. You Don't Love Me No More, but You Never Did. I actually had some guy from France produce that beat for me, which is really cool, and we're gonna make more music together. We have more music together. I really like that one. Anymore, probably. That was like, I think that was one of the last songs I made on the album. And it was, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's no hook. There's no like, it's literally just a story, and it's like poetry kind of. And I think my voice really takes over the track, and like you really, if you don't feel something when you hear this, something's wrong with you. Because like, no, you would have to hear something. Like it's just so beautiful. The sample of Shiloh Dynasty on there is incredible, and then the mixing, it wasn't perfect, but I liked how like imperfect it was. What is that word? Like imperfect? No, yeah, imperfect it was. And it was like, I did that on purpose. Everyone was like, oh, your mixing was bad. And I was like, did that on purpose. Like I wanted to match the sample. I wanted to match the vibe. And if it's more artistic that way. Right. If I just had clear audio, I was like, you don't love me. Like people would be like, oh, okay, this is just another song. But like, I think adding a bunch of things to it and like having that kind of like line noise in it made it really, really raw. And I think that's the sound I wanted to go for, was like the rawness of it, so you can hear the emotion. Oh, and for sure. I think I accomplished that because I got a lot of people like that song. So I was like, ooh, all right, cool. I was afraid people were not going to like that. So it was kind of a sigh of relief there. Now, looking at your newest album, which, we've talked about it before. It's probably my favorite of all the stuff that you've come out with to this point. You. Looking at your first projects compared to what you just released now, what do you think have been the biggest improvements that have caused you to kind of start taking off a little bit? Because like we said, on SoundCloud, you're getting a lot of following. On Apple Music, you're starting to get a lot of following. What have been the biggest improvements? Everything. Like literally, I don't mean to sound cliche, but literally everything. If you listen to my first project, you'd be like, oh, he's trying. You know what I mean? But like now it's like, oh, he's producing. Yeah, stuff. He's producing it. So I think one of the main things was probably my voice. I was like not confident when I first started because I was like, I don't want to be too loud for the mic, and I was like so scared to like do anything. And now like you open the door and I'm like, rah! Like I'm like screaming, and I have no issues doing that at all. I'm not nervous at all screaming in front of people. Like it's just like I have a vision. I want to accomplish it, and if it's it, cool. If it's not, move on to the next one. We'll find something else. But like I used to make everything by myself, and I think having everyone's help with like Anthony and Noah, how they kind of started coming in around like the second project, like really started coming in the second project, I think that helped me out a lot because they taught me how to like structure music and rap better because I was an awful rapper back then. I was like, yeah, I'm so cool, but I was like, I had no bars, no structure. I was like, be like, da-na-na-na-na, da-da-da-da, and it'd be so bad. And now it's like, da-na-na-na-na, da-da-da-da-da, and it'd be
It
so
sounds crisp now.
Yeah, it's better now. But I mean, not saying like my old music is bad.
But it's all about experience. Once you start
you
getting
can
your
tell.
foot in the door, you start hearing some things that you could do differently,
Right.
and you start improving that way.
I mean, you can really tell. Like, if you listen to my first project, The Sun Shines More Like the Moon, the first little EP, you could really tell, like, what I wanted it to sound like. And you're like, oh, he's almost there, but he's, like, not there. I feel like I'm here now, but, like, I'm still not there yet. But, like, I know I'm almost there. And, like, that's...
Yeah, there's definitely been steps made in the right direction.
Most definitely.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, now what do the next few years look like for you? Or I should say, let's make it a little more precise. Let's go next year. Okay, next 365 days. Are you in the process of making more music right now, or are you maybe taking
always?
I would say I know you're always in the studio.
Always.
That was kind of a ridiculous question on my part.
Shame on you, Matt Kirkle.
So what kind of projects are you working on? Collab stuff, like whether it's singles or whether are you working on another EP or album right now? What's kind of in store for you?
Dude, I have so many ideas. It's just literally all in my notes. I want to do, I don't know if I can say this or not, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it anyway. I have a song coming out with a local artist called Matter 4K that I'm doing a collaboration with. I'm on Noah Sadi's new album. I'm on Anthony Whitelaw's new album, or Anthony Gray's new album. Anthony Whitelaw's his real name. Me and Anthony have a collaboration coming out this year. I'm going to release 2 EPs this year. I haven't decided on the names yet. I haven't decided on what direction I'm going to do them, but I know that I'm going to release something. But next album, I had this idea last year. It was called Moonlight 98, and I had it last year, and I have the first version of it, but that was like my back then stuff, and I never released it, and it has, I think, 24 tracks on there. I'm so glad I didn't release it, because it's not very, now that I listen back, I'm like, oh, yikes, that wasn't good, but I'm probably going to release that 2020. I'm really going to take my time with it. It's going to be, I have really high hopes for it. Like, I want people to have the highest expectations because, like, I don't doubt myself. Like, this might be, like, a breakthrough thing because, like, and the album cover is already, like, in my head. I already have it, like, ready. And it's just, like, just making the music. I'm probably going to make, like, 80 songs and only pick, like, 18 of them. And they're not going to be, like, oh, bangers. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna sound like me at the rawest form. So that's what my goal is for that album. But a lot of music on the way. So
and having that picture in your head of what you want, that's always good. Like the fact that your album title, this last one, An Artist Can't Find True Happiness, it came to you like that.
Right.
It was just a matter of it came to you and then you ran with it and things like that. That's cool to see. What exactly, and this is kind of a broad question, there's not really a correct answer for this, but what kind of separates you from different artists? Because you mentioned before versatility, you want to have that kind of different range where you can do many different things, but what should make people want to listen to your music? What about your music makes you different, I guess is a good way to put that question.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'll give you a good answer.
All right, I'm ready. Cold board well.
Probably versatility. So, like, a lot of people, I hate saying, like, versatility all over again, but, like, I can literally do anything if I want. Like, I mean, I can literally go from, like, pop, indie, rock, screamo, hardcore rap, 90s rap, emo rap. Like, I can literally do whatever I want. And I think a lot of artists are scared to, like, jump out of the box because, like, if they have one sound and everybody likes that sound, then they're like, oh, I have to stay in this sound. Like, or I have to do this, or I have to do this. And I'm just like, you really don't. Like, you can, like, I mean, you can still do that, but, like, at the same time, you can, like, release something else. And if people aren't, like, messing with it, you don't have to be, like, butthurt and be like, oh, this isn't it. But, like, I make music for me, and I also make it for the people. But, like, at the end of the day, bro, like, no one, when I die, I don't want my music to be for the rest of the people. I want it to be for me. So, like, when my kids listen to it and everyone else listens to it, they go, wow, maybe he was, like, onto something. And, like, a lot of people didn't like my music when it first came out because they thought it was just, like, too emo or like too much auto-tune or too much this or too much that. Like literally you can't please everybody. So like you literally at the end of the day, you just have to ask yourself like what's best for you in this situation, and you just have to be confident in your responses, and you just have to release it. And if people don't like it, then they don't like it. Click on the next person. But like it's not like I'm not gonna get butthurt by it. Like I know a lot of artists that I don't like, but I still like them as a person. But
And is that difficult for you to make music more because of what you want as opposed to what the fans want? You know, so
yeah.
I figured that's probably pretty difficult. But like I guess what stops you from making music for the people as opposed to making music that you truly feel like you need to be making? Because to me it's pure artistry to see somebody make music that they want to make talk about what's on their mind. In my opinion, if you're talking about what's truly on your heart, that's art. Even regardless of quality, it's art. If it's something that you truly have passion for. Is it difficult at times to make music off of just your experiences and your passion for music as opposed to just going into Logic Pro and just editing something simple where it's just a simple beat in the background with an easy rap about women and money and things like that? You know, what makes you want to stay true to you?
That's a good question. I think the people that I surround myself with helps out a lot. I don't surround myself with fake people. I don't have any fake friends. Like I've had the same friends since I was like in 6th grade. So like they've seen me grow up and they know that I've wanted to do this, and they know that I'm trying. And so I think it's definitely the people you surround yourself with, because if you surround yourself with like fake people, you're obviously going to get fake results. They're going to tell you what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. So if like you listen to something, there's been plenty of times when I've been like, this song's so good, and then everyone is like, that is so bad. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. And then I don't release it and I keep it in the vault, and then about a month later I go back to it. I'm like, oh gosh, they were right. And I was like, I was just too like in my head about it, and like, yeah, a lot of things about that.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up with one last question. And it's another broad question. There's no right answer because this is more of just your vision. You know, there's an easy answer to this question for a lot of people, but I want to really see what you think about this. Where do you see this going? And I know that's super broad, right, but when it comes to, you know, pursuing anything, whether it's music or whether it's, you know, for example, me, I'm trying to go into sports broadcasting. Everybody's got a vision of what they see in their career and where they want to go and what path they want to take. And obviously the goal for any musician trying to make it is just to make it. You know, obviously to get a following, be able to play at shows and have fans. You know, that's everybody's dream. But is there a specific vision that you have? Like, is there like a certain mark you want to be at in a certain time frame? Like, let's say in 5 years you want to be doing this. Like, is there a specific vision that you have moving forward? And actually, I have one more question after that, but we'll stay with that one.
Sir.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me a little bit about your vision for where you see yourself like past a year.
Past a year.
And again, it's a tough question because there's no right answer because you never know what's going to happen.
I think about it literally every day. There's so many paths that like I could choose, and they would all be fine. But like, there's like the realistic path, and then there's like the dream path.
Always.
And then there's like I fail and I fall flat on my face, but I fall flat on my face with dignity. But I think that I want to make in a year from now, my goal is to probably make a stable income off of music, so I can quit my job and I can like provide for like my girl and like me, and like I can like pay off the house and like do all this stuff and like not have to worry about like time to wake up again. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I've been doing that for a year now, and it's getting old. I'm really tired, but like it's literally, that's how you become successful. Like nothing's gonna get handed to you. Like I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow and be like advertisers and record labels are gonna be like, oh my gosh, are you here yet? And I'm like, no one cares about me. Like literally no one cares. So like I have to like shove it down their throats about like how good I am, and I think this album really helped that. But I just, in a year from now, probably make a stable income. But 5 years from now, I'll be 20, 25. Hopefully, bro, I got a Grammy in the pocket. Like I want a Grammy so bad. Just one of them. I don't need like 36. I mean, if that happens, cool. But like I just want one of them just to like hang in my toilet or something, just like something cool. And I just want that bad. But I think with like social media today, you don't really like need to be signed. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
not at all. I mean, Chance the Rapper was independent for most of his career.
Still is.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah.
I mean, just making music for free. I mean, we see people do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But so one, I will say I'm blown away by your confidence, especially over the last few months. This last album turned out really well, and the fact that you have that mindset of I'm gonna make it, that's really impressive. The last thing I want to wrap up with is there anything you want to say to the people listening in terms of like what you want them to think about listening to your music for the first time? Is there anything you want to mention about like the meaning behind your music?
No expectations.
You don't want to give them anything?
Don't go in thinking like this is going to be a rap album. Don't go thinking this is going to be like a sad emo album. Don't go in thinking it's going to be like this sad little like I'm heartbroken. Don't think that. Like literally just go in with thinking that like you're gonna love it, you're gonna enjoy it, because you literally will. Like you will hear the emotion, you will hear the pain, you will hear everything about it, and you'll hear the realness. Like I think you can tell when an artist is like kind of lying when they're like rapping about like women and drugs, and you can kind of tell like when they're kind of like BSing. But like there's no reason to BS, because it's literally just me in my room making an album, and I write everything. And like Gray Skies, I wrote that 20 minutes. I recorded it in one day. Like it's literally just something happened in that day. I said, I don't know how to handle this. Went straight to the studio, found a beat, and I was like, Gray Skies. Like I just heard it, and I was like, oh gosh, this is really good. I need to stick with this. And from like 4 p.m. till 1 a.m., I was in the studio, and I think you can just hear the honest truth about it. So
very true. It's pure. I mean, it's obvious that you're going to hear a lot of different things. Again, the album called An Artist Can't Find True Happiness. You can listen to it on Apple Music. You can listen to it on Spotify. Thank you so much to Nobodies for coming into the studio today, doing this interview with us. It was a lot of fun. Stay tuned. We're going to have more music coming up. Again, Apple Music, Spotify, check them out. Nobodies. Got a new album out, came out a few days ago, got more stuff on the way. Thank you so much for coming into the studio and interviewing with us.
Matt Kirkle and UNO
and
MavRadio.
Stay tuned for more music. You are listening to MavRadio.fm, KVNO 90.7 HD2 Omaha.